Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah na'maduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min shururi anfusina wa min sayyiati a'malina. Man yahdihillahu fala mudilla lahu wa man yudlilhu fala hadiya lahu. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu amma ba'd. Inshallah, today we'll discuss about one of the branches of Iman, that is shyness. So in Arabic term it is referred as Haya. So Haya means having a sense of shame, shyness and modesty. So Haya means like we do not do certain actions or we don't do certain things because what would people think about us, or what will people think are ridicule us, or will it affect our dignity and self-respect. So we avoid doing certain set of actions just because people will see it or people will know about it. That is called as Haya. Like we have the shyness, we feel like what would they think, will I be ridiculed, it will affect your damage your name and all those. So we don't do it. That is called as shyness. So this is being mentioned as one of the branches of Iman in Islam. So we see in Sahih al-Bukhari 24 and in 6118, like Prophet Muhammad passes by a man and he is instructing to his brother saying like, why are you being so shy? I'm warning you about it. Then on saying this, Prophet Muhammad says like, leave him. And he mentions saying like, shyness or Haya is a branch of Iman. So he's saying like not to say about it. Yes, it's fine to be shy about it. Also it's mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari 9 where Prophet Muhammad says, there are more than 60 branches of Iman and Haya is one of the branch. So from this we can understand like shyness is a quality that we need to develop, and it is also stressed as one of the branches of Iman. And we normally attribute shyness to women. Like back in India at least, like what we would say is like if a boy or a man has a shy, they'll normally say like, why are you being shy like a girl? So they attribute shyness to women. But based on this hadith, we can see like it is one of the branches of Iman, and shyness is something which both men and women should have. They should have this quality. And in a way, if you see Haya, we avoid certain things just because of the people. But if you see like Taqwa, we do not do certain things because of the fear of Allah. So we don't do certain things because fear of Allah. But here, Haya is like we do it because what will if this person sees, or if my dad sees or mom sees, what will they think about it? And we are not doing it. So if you see, it should contradict, or it doesn't look like a nice way, like you are fearing just for people and you are not doing it, but it is not for the sake of Allah. But you have to understand the slight difference in it. So if it is anything to do with ibadat, like prayer or your fasting, then it has to be fully for Allah. Like you cannot pray or think like what would he think about me, or fasting if you are doing for the other person, it will not be accepted. But in terms of action, if you are getting away from doing something bad or evil, Prophet says it is fine. If you have taqwa, if you are not doing it, that is well and good. But even if you have shyness, just because what would others think about me, if you are not doing it, don't worry about it. That is also a branch of Iman. The stress is more on you avoid doing that bad thing. So it is fine even if you are avoiding it for the sake of people. And it's mentioned 1974 as well as in 4185. So Haya is something, if you have it in your action, it beautifies your action, or it glitters, or it glorifies your action. So we can know from it, like if somebody has Haya, even in normal life or normal day-to-day activities, he will follow. Like he will not talk loudly or so. Wherever he has to behave in a nice way, he will behave because he will think like, okay, what would others think about me? Each and every action, you yourself will be able to see like, will be doing it a nice way. It glorifies, or as it's mentioned in the hadith, it will beautify your action. And we know like most of the preachings or the sayings of earliest prophets have been modified, tampered, and those. But there are few of them that still exist. Like, and Prophet Muhammad is mentioning one of them. It's mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari 3483, 3484, and in 6120. Prophet Muhammad saying is one of the sayings of the earlier prophets which the people have got is, if you do not have shame, do whatever you like. Meaning like if you have haya or shyness, you will not be doing it. But if you don't have the shame, that's fine, you do whatever you want. In a way, we can testify, like we can think about it. If somebody doesn't worry about or carry out action without worrying about others, it means you do not have haya, you do not have shame, you do not worry about it, you don't bother about like what others will think about it, then it's fine, you do whatever you want. So we have to ourselves test and see like how are we doing it in our action. Do we think like if I do this action, if it is incorrect, will others, what will they think about me? And if we are doing that, then we can understand like yes, we have the shyness. But if you are like I don't bother about anyone, whatever I think I'll do it, then this from this hadith we can say like then we do not have the haya, or we don't worry about others' comments. In Sahih al-Bukhari 6117, it is mentioned, Prophet Muhammad says, Haya does not bring anything other than good. So Prophet Muhammad says, if you have Haya, it will completely bring good thing to you. In a way, if you understand, as we also saw in some of the examples as well as here, if you have Haya, all the things that you are about to do or what are the bad things that you do, it will automatically correct it. So it has got nothing other than good things. So we have to make sure like we should have this quality of shyness. In Sahih al-Bukhari 6119, it is mentioned like Prophet Muhammad used to have shyness more than that of a virgin girl. So we have to understand like Prophet Muhammad, he himself had that quality. So from all these hadiths, what we can see is like haya is a quality which we should have. And we can also see like if somebody is lying, or he will avoid from doing it because he will think like I would be called as a liar. So if you have that shyness, you will be protected from it. You will not do that action. Similarly, somebody is committing fraud or cheating, he will not do that because I will be called as a cheater by or a fraud by other people. That's how I will be named as. And he will not get involved into any bad actions or so because he is worrying about others people what they would say. So if you see, haya is a quality which will make you or which will avoid you from doing certain sort of bad actions. Like if somebody is smoking and drinking, he would be doing it, but he will worry about what would people think about me. If a Muslim sees like he's being named as Muslim, but still he is drinking, he is smoking. So just to avoid that, what would the community around him or what would be the environment about him think about him? In that way, he is avoiding doing that. So haya is something which brings good to you in all sense. In Sahih al-Muslim 2401, it's narrated by Aisha radiallahu anhu. Like Prophet Muhammad was lying in his bed, his thigh was uncovered. So Abu Bakr enters the home and asks permission and is having conversation with Prophet Muhammad, and Prophet Muhammad is in the same state and he is talking to Abu Bakr. After that, Umar enters the home and asks permission to enter the home, and after getting the permission, similarly he is lying in the bed and Prophet Muhammad is conversing with Umar as well. Then after that, Usman enters, and when he asks permission, Prophet Muhammad sits and he adjusts his dress and make sure like he sits in a proper way, and then he converses with Usman anhu. After he leaves, Aisha was asking like what is the difference, like when Umar as well as Abu Bakr was there, you did not change your state, you were in the same one, but when Usman came in, you immediately changed and you started covering your thigh. What is the significance of it? Then Rasulullah explains saying like, should I not be shy to the person for whom Malak or the angels are shy about? That was the shyness that Usman had. He used to be a very shy person, and it has been praised by Rasulullah as well. From all this, we understand like haya or the shyness is a good quality and everybody should have it, and we should cultivate to have it as well. But there is one exclusion on it. So in terms of seeking knowledge, we should never have shyness. So if you want to know more about Islam or any knowledge related things, we should not feel shy about it. What would others think about me? Will they think like I didn't even know this simple thing? Will they think me like, oh, he is asking a dumb question? In terms of knowledge, we should never worry about it. We'll see like more hadiths like how during the period of Prophet Muhammad Sahabas have come and asked certain kinds of questions which we would not like, we would be based on shyness, we would not have asked about it, but they did not worry about it because they wanted to learn Islam, they wanted to know the rulings, so they avoided it and they came and asked it. So it's mentioned in Sahih al-Bukhari 315. An Ansari woman came to Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and was asking about the ruling, like what is the ruling, like how should we take bath after our period or the menstrual cycle is done. And Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam explains the procedure. And in Sahih Muslim 332, Aisha Raliano is praising this quality of the Ansari woman. In general, he is praising, saying like, how good are the women of Ansar. Their shyness does not stop them from knowing the religion. So it is being praised. So even though it is being a question that is asked by a woman to a man like Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, they do not worry about, they did not have the shyness to ask that question, but rather they were more willing to learn the ruling of the Islam, which made sure like they avoided the shyness and they wanted to learn the ruling of it and they came forward to learn about it. Also in further in 6121, it's been narrated by Salama, Prophet's wife, saying that Salama is asking in a way like he's going to ask something which normally people would be shy about. So Salama is starting like, verily Allah is not shy of telling the truth. And then Salama further continues saying, should a woman take a bath after a wet dream or after the discharge? And then Prophet ﷺ replies saying like yes. But in 130, it is further explained whereby the narrator, the Salama, is further asking to Prophet ﷺ, does actually women get discharge? Then Prophet ﷺ replies, yes, that is the reason the son is like your mother. So from this we can see like these are things which people would normally hesitate to ask. But Prophet ﷺ has even replied, as well as Sahaba women had the courage to learn about it and they did not worry about it. What would others think about it? Even like when this question is being asked in presence of wife of Prophet ﷺ, but they wanted to learn religion, but they did not hesitate and they went and asked. In Sahih al-Bukhari 2069, 132 and 178, all refers to the same hadith, whereby Ali Raliano, based on his body condition, he used to have frequent emotional discharge. He used to have frequently, and he did not like, what should I do? Should I take bath every time of this? Based on his body condition, he used to have it. Since he was the son-in-law of Prophet Muhammad, what he does is he takes the help of Miqdad Raliano and asked him saying like, can you get the ruling for this? What should I do about it? And Miqdad came to Rasulullah and was asking, what should be done in that case? Then Prophet replies, if that is the case, you can do wudu. That should be fine for it. From this, we can understand both men and women during the period of Prophet, they did not shy or they did not worry about what would others think. And it is also like we can see from the response of Prophet, like he used to give the rulings of it. So in terms of learning or in terms of seeking knowledge, we should not worry about or we should not think about shyness or we should not think what others think about us. And in Sahih al-Bukhari 4074, Rasulullah is in the mosque and making some sayings, preaching it, and he is observing like three of the people come and one of them comes and sits and the other sits in the middle, and other person sees like people are sitting and sits in the last, and the third person comes, he sees, and then he turns and goes back. Prophet sees all this and he says like, shall I tell you about three of the people? Then he explains what it is. One of them betook himself and came towards Allah, and Allah also accompanied him. He is describing about the first person who did not worry about anyone. He came and sat and he started listening to what our Prophet Muhammad was saying. And second person felt shy and he sat in the last one. And Allah also did the same. But and he sheltered his mercy, meaning like since he sat in the middle, he did not punish him, but he sat in the last. He's saying about the second person. And with respect to third person, Prophet mentioned, the third turned his face and returned, and Allah also turned away from him. From this, we can see like Prophet ﷺ is praising the first person who did not worry about anything. He saw like Prophet ﷺ is doing some teachings. So he came, he found a space and he immediately sit and started listening to it. And this is being praised based on this hadith, we can see it. This is also same narration, we can find it in Sahih al-Bukhari 66 as well. 4017. A person asked to Prophet Muhammad, like, what is it that I need to conceal to others? Like my private parts, whom should I conceal it to? Then Prophet Muhammad replied saying like, you should conceal it to everyone except your wife and your slave girls. Then the person further asks saying like, what about if I'm in a group of people? Meaning like, I think like he's meaning men, but we can say like based on a hadith, what if I'm in the group of people? Then he mentions, if it is in your power, then still you should conceal it. Then third he asks, what about if I'm alone? Then Prophet ﷺ further reply saying like, Allah is more entitled to have, like you should be shy seeing based on Allah, like he's more entitled to be to have that. So from this we can see like the kinds of questions that Sahabas asked to Prophet ﷺ, and Prophet ﷺ was also ready to respond. He didn't ask like, why you're asking these kinds of questions, because in terms of knowledge it is good that they are asking, as well as Prophet ﷺ replied to these questions. So from all this we can understand like Haya, based on the hadith we have seen earlier, Haya is a good quality that we need to develop, and it will always bring good to you. And the only reason or only case where we should not have shyness is during our learning or seeking the knowledge. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah. In chapter number 7, verse number 22, it describes about like Adam and Hawa Islam, when they ate the fruit from the forbidden tree, like their private parts became apparent and they started covering it with the leaves in the garden. So from this Quran ayat, what we can understand is it's the normal habitat of human being that they will have shyness. So if somebody is not having shyness, he has to understand like he's going against the normal nature of the human being. So he should start having, or he should cultivate, or he should have that habit of shyness. And we have seen like what are all the good things about Haya. So it's mentioned like it has nothing other than good thing, and it purifies all your action. And Haya is mentioned as one of the branches of Iman, and out of the 60 branches of Iman, Haya is one of it. From all this we can find like shyness is something which always been good to us. We should have, or we should cultivate the habit of having it. And the exclusion for it is only during seeking knowledge. Only during that time we should not worry about others. Rest of the time, like whatever it is in all our actions, we should make sure we have shyness, and inshallah Allah has make us to have that. And we are approaching the last 10 days of Ramadan. So just as a reminder, we have one of the holy day like Laylatul Qadr. It can fall on any of the odd nights, like either on 21, 23, 25, 27 or 29. Rather than praying on a specific day on 27, let's make sure like we do all ibadah on all these 5 days. It can fall on any one of the day. Laylatul Qadr is described like it is greater than even 1,000 months. It is equivalent to like or greater than 1,000 months. So inshallah, let's make use of that holy night, and let's do our deen in all those days, so that we are able to get that night in one of the nights. Wa alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.